Today I'm going to talk a bit about coming out and what it was like for me. It was pretty hard, but I had to do it. For me, I mean, not everyone has to come out, because some people just be, but for me, because at the time I identified as a straight guy, I was very confused. There was a lot of shame and guilt behind not feeling the right sex and stuff. So it was just over 2 years ago, just under 2.5 years ago, in August 2013, on the 4th, I think, I was with this cisgender straight woman that I'd been with for 4 years. I'm just saying that so you've got context. Yeah, I'd been with her for 4 years since high school when I was 17. And we had a pretty good relationship overall. I mean, it had its ups and downs and there wasn't a lot of communication. I think I was mainly the culprit for that, because I had a lot of stuff inside and a lot of things I didn't want people to find out about me, and heaps of shame, heaps and heaps and heaps of shame, which was completely unwarranted. But at the time I thought, well, I had a really rigid black and white way of thinking. So I came out to her first because she was the person I cared about the most, and I loved her, and I lived with her as well. And I felt that she was the most important person in my life, and she needed to know first. And once she had found out and had time to process it, I could come out to, I guess, on the hierarchy of family members, I could come out to my mom and dad, and then my brother and sister, and then my friends, and so on and so forth. So I came out to her. I had to get very drunk, and there was a lot of tears, and I had to plan it the night before as well. Yeah, and I ended up talking to myself in the mirror for 2 hours and telling myself I could do it and I could handle it and I could cope if everyone I loved just decided that I was a freak. And yeah, had to really pump myself up for it and then drink some courage juice. Yeah, so she was a little bit taken aback and a bit confused because I wasn't the most feminine dude. She asked me things like, can't you just cross-dress when you're feeling girly or something like that, just as a part-time thing? Do you really, really need to transition? How long have you felt like this? And I really had to justify the feelings to her. A long time ago, so I'm just like, I don't know if it was me or her, but I really had to justify myself and my feelings. Yeah, really pushed that I was telling the truth and it wasn't just a random idea or a fetish or anything like that. And it really freaked her out because she thought she knew me and she thought she knew everything about me. And this was my, deepest, darkest secret. And I just blurted it out to her. After that, 3 days later, during the period of coming out and the 3 days later, she was quite pushy about me finding a psychologist, and I wanted to, or a therapist or whatever, and I really wanted to find the right one. And it was really, really hard because where I lived at the time I couldn't really find any that specialised in gender, and I wanted some solid help. So I had a lot of pressure put on me in the initial stages, and then unfortunately I did give her permission to tell my mum if she couldn't keep it in, because she was seeing my mum that day and my mum was going to keep asking her why she was crying and what it was about. And I didn't want to put the pressure of her having to lie for me. Like, I didn't want that to happen, so I was like, okay, if you have to tell my mum, you can tell her. I'm sure she'll deal. So she told my mum, and mum didn't talk to me about it because I sort of just organised this like family dinner thing because I knew she was going to tell mum, so I was like, okay, well, I might as well just get it over and done with. I didn't have a lot of time to prepare or plan or anything. On that day, she told my mom that I was trans and wanted to transition. Then I got home from work that day after a really hard day, and she was calling me constantly as well and putting pressure on me and stuff, and it was a bit hard. I got home and her friend was there, and her friend smiled and quickly left when I got there. And then I went to give her a hug and kiss hello, and she was all in tears and she's like, I've decided to let you go. I'm breaking up with you. And I knew it was coming and I knew it was necessary because I didn't really feel like we were going to work anyway, but yeah, so that was really hard, and we talked for a couple of hours, and then I went to my parents' house, and yeah, I got drunk there because I couldn't do it without, and there was a lot of tears, and before I even said anything, and my dad asked me if I was molested, which now looking back I think was quite funny, but at the time I still laughed at the time. But yeah, I guess he was quite a bit more shocked considering I wasn't touched and I was actually a trans. I totally didn't say that. I was actually trans. There was no A in there. I'm not one of those people who says a transgender, I swear. Yeah, so I came out to them, and my sister was a bit teary, and my mum was silent but teary. Dad was confused, and my brother seemed a bit supportive, but still confused. And my sister was also kind of supportive. Like, they didn't really know what to do. They were really shocked, and it was a big surprise to them. They'd known me for 21 years as a guy, and yeah, it was a huge shock to them. I can't really remember what they asked me because I was pretty wrecked. But yeah, after that, some other hard stuff happened in my life. I had to run their business for 2 weeks without any support, and my brother didn't want to talk to me, and my sister was working. I wasn't out to anyone else, and I felt really isolated, and I was living alone because my ex-girlfriend had moved out. I was living alone in this house. I was autonomously getting up and working, and then I couldn't be alone at the house, so I'd go out and see friends. But while I was with them, I still felt so alone because I felt like the real me had just come out into the world, but I still wouldn't share it because I didn't feel like the friends were ready to know yet. A little bit after that, I ended up getting outed by my ex to like everyone, and it really sucked. Well, I'm 90% sure it was her. I'll never know for sure, but I'm pretty sure like the clues point to it, which was really, really hard to deal with. I had to go into like damage control and go around and talk to each friend individually and sort of explain myself, and just to try and solidify a support network for myself, because I really felt like I had no one. And in the end, that was almost the reality. I didn't really have anyone. I was quite close with one of my friend's partners, and she was quite a big help at the beginning. But yeah, as time went on and I got a bit more emotionally unstable, our friendship sort of deflated. Like, it was completely based on me coming out and stuff. So it was hard. It was really, really hard, and it was a lot of work, and I'm pretty sure it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life so far. It's really strengthened me. If I find myself in a situation that is quite challenging, I can remind myself, you've had so much worse, you've dealt with so much worse, you can do this. So yeah, for me, coming out was not an easy experience, and it was quite a painful one. I'm better for it, but yeah, it took a lot of repairing, and I've got quite a few trust issues and stuff now. But yeah, I didn't manage to keep my girlfriend. I didn't manage to keep many of my friends. I lost my best friend. As sad as it is, and as sad as I am right now telling this to you, a lot of good has come out of it, and I wouldn't trade this for the world. I don't want to end it on a sad note. Like, I'm happy, my life's great. Coming out was a crucial step for me personally. That's my story. I'll quickly go over some steps and preparation and stuff. Steps for me, you don't have to use these. I mean, like, or maybe you don't need to because you've already come out and you're just interested. So I had to get myself into a confident headspace and really talk myself up. So I had to talk to myself in the mirror for 2 hours. There was a lot of tears. I had to really reassure myself that I had my own support because I didn't know if I had anyone else's yet. I used alcohol, maybe not the best option for a lot of people, and that was quite helpful. I think it made me a bit more teary though. I feel like I'm kind of shit to give advice on coming out because mine was painful and hard and had no support. Alright, yeah, that's it. Thanks.